Linda, it's so lovely to have you at the Farhouse. Tell us about your nickname at the Farhouse and how you got it.
Well, I became known as Princess. And the reason for that was it's just, going through detox is pretty tough. And what kept me going through it was knowing the reward that lay at the end of it, which is the peace and freedom. But during that time going through, I had quite a lot of demands. I needed my food to be purchased in a certain store, and I needed it to be cooked in a certain way. And all of this was because, not that I'm not normally demanding, I can be quite demanding, but at that particular time I was extra demanding because going through detox, my taste buds were adjusting, and it was a process. So that's the reason that I became known as Princess. Nothing to do with my royal birthright or any such thing.
Your very cool accent. I'm sure. Because it's not just tomatoes that you eat, it's tomatoes.
Tomatoes, of course.
Yes,
that's tomatoes and potatoes as well.
No, and potatoes is normal for us.
And we drank bubbly from aluminium cans, not aluminum.
Aluminium. Don't think I can even. Yes, I exited the original Farhouse with a bit of a British accent sometimes, or Irish. Okay.
That's right, and it was good fun. It was good fun to hear all the different accents. And by the way, the name Princess didn't just come from anyone. Tosca picked that name.
It really suited her because, as she mentioned, demanding was definitely one of those words that I can identify with. Yes, you felt demanding, but it was probably demanding. So I should have asked that question last, because I should ask you probably first, like what the trip, like what it meant to you overall. How did you come to find us, and what did it mean overall?
So I really was in a bad way before I arrived at the Farhouse, and I just was out of ideas as to what on earth I was going to do to be able to stop eating the way that I was eating. It was bad. I mean, one of the reasons that I went through such a severe detox was because I was not eating any normal food. If it wasn't sugar and carbs, mainly sugar, I didn't want to know. And I don't want to name any particular foods because it might be triggering for someone new to recovery, but it was just all day eating. My pattern was from the minute I would wake up until the minute I would go to bed, I would just be eating all day long, obscene amounts of food. And so this had been going on for years. I've been overweight my whole life, and now had reached obesity for many years, and I just couldn't stop. I had found other food programs in the past that were a form of abstinence from sugar and flour. The first time was in 2013, but I couldn't make it stick. I had a certain amount of peace for a while, but then I couldn't make it stick. And when I would break or make an exception, I couldn't get back on program again. And so I tried and tried and tried. I was, just pulling my hair out, literally, and very scared because I was at the point where I actually couldn't walk very far anymore. And I'm way too young for that to be a fact of life for me. And I had a horrible experience earlier this year going through Dubai Airport, which is a massive airport and a lot of walking, even for any normal sized person. But for someone carrying as much extra weight as I was doing, it just literally reduced me to a state of tears. I was so frustrated and scared because I didn't know how to stop. Even despite all of the adverse consequences, I just did not know how to stop. And I knew I needed some serious help. And I luckily one day happened upon the email that came about the firehouse. And I just knew I have got to do this. My initial reservation was, how am I going to get a month off work? But then I knew I just have to find a way. I talked it over with my family, and they said, you've got to do this. If this is what you think is going to help you, you've got to prioritize yourself, and you've got to find a way to get the time to do this. Because if you don't, what's going to happen? What's your future looking like? And it, for me, that really was a grim and bleak future. So I arrived at the firehouse literally on my knees. Yeah.
That's what we call the gift of desperation. And, I went through my own journey, and I'm super thankful for the gift of desperation, because it gets us in a position where we're ready to actually make changes that need to be changed. And, I mean, as much as you were a demanding princess, you were ready to change. You were. And you soaked everything up like a sponge. And so now what? So do you want to tell us how much weight you've lost since the beginning?
Yes, I'm very happy to report that as of my second weigh-in, which is exactly 2 months on program, I've lost 40 pounds. Awesome. And I can't tell you the difference that has made to me. I'm able to walk about much easier now. I still got a lot of weight to lose, of course, but 40 pounds really has turned my life around. And I feel so much better. I can wear clothes now that I wasn't able to wear before. I look a lot better. Some people have noticed that I've lost weight. Others haven't noticed yet. But the biggest thing is I feel it. I feel it myself. And what's even more important, and it has lightened my load, so to speak, a load off my shoulders and a load off my mind, is that I'm no longer obsessed by food. And that is worth even more than the 40 pounds. 40 pounds I really value, and I'm so thankful and grateful for. But even bigger and more importantly, I have got peace of mind. I'm not constantly thinking about where can I get my next fix from? How can I get rid of this person I'm talking to so that I can go and eat something? Mm-hmm. How can I get enough food so that I don't feel like I'm short of food in the next 6 hours or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I no longer feel like I'm obsessed with the compulsion to the overwhelming drive to eat is no longer there. And I'm so grateful and so thankful to you and to the firehouse and to the program, because if it wasn't for all of that, I would still be doing the same thing as I was doing 2 months ago, which is eating to a point of oblivion.
Yeah, that's really been awesome to witness your journey, and you came farther than anyone. So Linda flew all the way from Saudi Arabia to come to Colorado. That was quite. It took how many hours to get across?
So it's two plane journeys, and it's basically a day of traveling. And like when I say a day, I mean like 24 hours. So the journey on the way back was even longer. It was three plane journeys because of the route I had to take. But I mean, it was totally worth it. I mean, I just, for all the reasons that I said, I would have gone twice that distance to get this result.
I don't think you can go twice that distance on the earth, because it's like the other side of the earth. If you go around that way, you're going to be already back with me. So sorry, let me get my math skills involved in this problem, of course. A couple more questions. You are tell us a little bit about your line dancing, because that's fun. Because I have a video of this, so I might have to see if I get permission to put this video up.
So we had a lot of fun at Farhouse with line dancing. I have been a line dancer for 20 something years, which always surprises people because I'm from Ireland and I live in Saudi Arabia. So people are always like, what? You what? And not only do I like to line dance, but I have for many years been teaching line dancing. And it just so happened that there was another lady at the Farhouse who's also a line dancer. And of course, you, Tosca, are able to line dance as well. And you know the Shadish. And I know the Shadish. And we had a lot of fun. And so especially then at the Farhouse, where I just, you know, going through detox, it's you lose energy. And I mean, I didn't have a lot of energy to begin with, as I was already explaining. But going through detox, it can be even worse. But I always seem to manage to find a bit of energy, especially after the first week or so, when you put the music on. And wow, that really brightened my time at the Farhouse. I love that. And the sense of fun amongst the group and others who don't line dance but were willing to join in. And we had such great fun. And I really loved that. Oh, that's my cat saying she wants to line dance. No line dancing.
Have you gotten back to it yet, or not quite yet?
Not yet, but I'm hoping to. So it's been a while since I've been there because of, you know, COVID, but also just, you know, my general shutting down and not living my own life because of being in the food and gaining so much weight and not being able to walk, never mind dance. So you know, it's something I'm working towards. I want to have first things first. My food is the most important, as I learned from you. And I also want to just make sure I have my food prep done and all the things that I need to do, and then I'll gradually start reaching out to pick up some of the fun activities that I used to enjoy. And I'm looking forward to being in that position where I actually have a choice and I don't have to sit it out because it's too difficult or too hard, or I'm too self-conscious or too tired or whatever. Well, I actually learned in Ireland, believe it or not, there was a big push, I don't know, in the early 1990s. Line dancing became really popular in Ireland at that point. And so that's where I started. And actually now it's all over the world. It's international. If you look on YouTube for some of the, where is line dancing really popular, one of the places is China, of all places. Yeah. So we're truly global and international in our pastime and hobby.
There you go. And I'm trying to go international. I got another Farhouse in Spain now. So
wow.
If I had it in Spain,
when you were dancing there to be done.
If I had it in Spain, you wouldn't have had to come so far if it was in Spain.
Yes. Well, you know, it's. I think however far anyone has to go, it's worth it, because it really there is nothing else like Farhouse. I actually had been looking for places, and there are places you can go and you can be in some kind of rehab detox program, but they didn't meet the same specifications as the Farhouse. And having been through the Farhouse experience, I would say it's very personalized and tailored, and I didn't feel like I was in a production line factory of just like thousands of people coming through. And
felt like a princess, didn't you?
I felt like a princess. I was right at home.
No, we catered to individuals. Yes, we did.
Yes.
Even princess.
Exactly. And I was very grateful for that, because, you know, I don't know what I would have done had that not have happened. It would have made my time there a lot more stressful. So you made it as comfortable as it was, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Can you tell me how you came about getting off of work? That may be a challenge for people. Like you have an important job. Like, how do you leave your job for a month? You know.
So that was a big thing, because it was, you know, I think I found out about the Farhouse about a month before the date that we needed to travel. And the biggest thing was I was in my own head that, oh, I can't possibly at short notice ask for a month off. But then I realized that, no, I have to do this. As I mentioned about talking it over with my family, I realized, no, I must do this, because if I don't, I'm going to get sick and I'm going to need perhaps way longer than a month off, because that's the trajectory that I was on. And I mean, I was pretty not that far away from not being able to walk from my car to my office. I mean, that's how serious this is. So when I realized and factored in all of those things, I thought, I have got to do this. I have got to ask for time off. And then when I asked for time off, my boss and her boss were actually super supportive of that. I think they realized that this is a matter of health for me, and they realized that this was an investment in my future with them, as well as my own personal future. And surprisingly, well, for me it was a surprise, but they were very interested in making sure that I took care of my health, and thought that should come first. Now, that came as a surprise to me, because I have never put myself first, and I always put my job first. And it just goes to show how, we can get things a bit muddled and mixed up in our minds. And so I'm so glad I took the step to ask for that time off, and that it was so well received. And you know what? That month went by, and now I'm back, and it's like I was never away from the job. Nothing happened. There was no ripple or gaping
The business
seams
didn't
or
fall
anything.
apart without you.
Exactly. And the bottom line is, nobody's indispensable. I could drop down dead tomorrow, or I could get to the point where I can't walk to the office, and then what? I can't work anyway. So this was really a matter of life and death, really, quite literally.
Yeah.
So it was totally worth it.
It's super brave of you to do all that. Big life decision. Very brave of you. And I think, you're an example of how, the far house. How far will you go? Yeah.
Right.
You went all the way because it was important.
Definitely. And one of the things that I have to admit factored into my decision making is, it's scary to think about not eating the way that I normally eat or ate, because I always had so much comfort from that. It was my friend, it was my social companion, it was I have friends and I do stuff, but this was the best friend. The best friend was coming home and just being on the couch in front of TV and eating whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, every day. And that is scary to think of giving that up. It's like, do I really want to do this? Like, am I really gonna be able to be okay? And the answer is yes, I am perfectly fine and very, very happy to be without that food, and I feel so free. It's so amazing how the brain gets that all messed up. Like when you're addicted to something and you feel like you can't live without it, not realizing it's actually a poison to us, and that the true life is the true joy of life is something without needing to have that. And it's seen when you're in the food and relying on the food, it seems so incomprehensible that there could be a place of peace and joy without sugar and without flour. And that was in my mind too. Do I really want to do this? But I knew from having done some earlier attempts that there really is peace to be attained. And I want that for myself, and I chose that. And with your help and help of all of the people that were involved in the program that we were able to learn from, it really was simple in comparison to how difficult it would have been in comparison, comparatively speaking. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thanks so much for doing this with me. If you have any last thoughts, you can add them in. Late there. I know it's bedtime for you, probably.
Yeah, it's late here. I'm not sure what time it is now, but I would just want to encourage anyone who is feeling that their life is difficult because of their compulsion to eat, particularly sugar and carbohydrate type foods. It's really it's a life-changing experience, and one that will really transform your life. And in my case, it has saved my life. So I would really encourage everyone to who's thinking about it to do it. Just go for it. I don't think you'll regret it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Linda. You're the best.